All right, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Ayurveda seminar that we have for you this afternoon. First of all, thank you everyone for joining the US-India Chamber of Commerce Dallas-Fort Worth for today's webinar on Ayurveda. We really have an exciting program and wonderful panelists. Before we get into discussion, we have a few housekeeping items. We will take questions periodically throughout the program if they are clarifying questions. However, most questions will be answered towards the end of the program. This program will be recorded, and a recording of this program will be posted on the Chamber's YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, please do. There are also other videos listed there from Chamber's robust webinar series. They have actually been very active during this COVID season. Also, please note that next week, the Chamber is hosting a very special thought leadership program with Parag Khanna in partnership with the World Affairs Council of Dallas-Fort Worth. The topic is The Future is Asian. This is only open for Chamber members. I'm really excited about it. So if you are interested in joining, you will need to become a member of the Chamber. And for Chamber members, please expect an email from Chamber either today or on Monday for the registration details. By the way, introducing myself, I'm Shanti Rajaram. I'm a local technology entrepreneur, founder and CEO of Amazing Solutions. We specialize in driving business transformation using technology and talent. And I'm a proud member of US-India Chamber of Commerce. It's a real pleasure for me to serve as the moderator this afternoon. I don't think I can fill in the big shoes of Neil, but this is my humble attempt at that. Before I introduce our panelists, please note that nothing in this program should be taken as medical advice. While much of the information provided would seem like medical advice, we request you to please consult your physician before making changes to your diet or lifestyle based on the information that you received during this webinar. Again, this is not medical advice. Additionally, the panelists may recommend products or practices during today's program. However, the Chamber is not, and will not endorse any of these products. This program should not be taken as an endorsement of these products. Now that we are clear, without further ado, I'll introduce our panelists. We have 4 panelists today. Gunny Sodhi, the founder and CEO of YouVeda. Gauri Junnarkar, the founder and director of AyurNutrition. Sapna Punjabi, she's the founder and CEO of beSPICED. Meenakshi Gupta is the founder of AyurRoots Ayurveda Wellness. Let me start first with introducing Gunny Sodhi. Gunny is the founder and CEO of YouVeda. YouVeda's mission is very simple: produce the best Ayurvedic products on the planet by tapping into the intelligence of Mother Nature. Gunny's family roots in Ayurvedic medicine stretch across generations, but he didn't personally understand the power of Ayurveda until a tragedy struck him close. The sudden death of his 16-year-old brother completely changed the course of his life, setting him on an unexpected path of self-discovery. We will delve more into that later in the show. YouVeda is Gunny's way to honor the memory of his brother while helping others on their own journey towards healing and happiness. Welcome, Gunny. Would you like to share something with the audience?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be joined by my fellow panelists. Thank you to the Chamber, and Shanti, thank you so much. That was a beautiful introduction. I look forward to the discussion. I look forward to adding any value that we can based on my experience and just helping people out, especially during this time. So namaste and thank you. I look forward to everything.
Thank you, Gunny. The next panelist is Gauri Junnarkar. She's the founder director of AyurNutrition. She's an author, international keynote speaker, and an Ayurveda nutrition and wellness expert. AyurNutrition is an integrative and holistic wellness practice based out of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. Gauri is a highly accomplished, registered, licensed dietitian and nutritionist, certified diabetes educator, classically trained Vaidya, Ayurvedic practitioner, Panchakarma specialist, and licensed massage therapist. She earned her Ayurvedic medicine degree from the University of Mumbai. She also holds a Master's of Science degree in nutrition from Texas Women's University. She has completed massage certification course from Kekino Massage Academy. She is currently licensed as a massage therapist in the state of Texas. Welcome, Gauri.
Thank you so much, Shanti, for this wonderful introduction. And again, thank you for this opportunity to create more awareness about Ayurveda. And I'm very excited to have our fellow panelists with us as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gauri. The third panelist I have is Sapna Punjabi-Gupta. Sapna is the founder and CEO of beSPICED. She is also a registered and licensed dietitian and an Ayurvedic practitioner, and her primary focus is culinary wellness. She teaches cooking classes, conducts wellness workshops, and teaches folks on how to find wellness through everyday food and spices. She's pretty active on social media and has her own YouTube channel. Please check it out. The information will be passed at the end of this webinar. All this along with writing and speaking engagements keep her super busy. Her time and energy has been spent teaching, educating, and speaking on Ayurveda. She has more than a decade of clinical experience as a neonatal dietitian at Baylor University Medical Center in downtown Dallas. She has worked with high-risk pregnant moms and critically ill premature infants. She is also the president of Dallas Diabetic Alliance for 2020-2021. It's a local nonprofit organization for registered dietitians, professionals, and students in Dallas, Texas, and beyond. Welcome, Sapna.
Thank you so much. Thank you first of all, a huge thanks to the Chamber for thinking about having us on this panel and spreading awareness about Ayurveda in this much needed times of coronavirus. So I'm really excited to be a part and being amongst my fellow professionals in Ayurveda. So
thank you so much, Sapna, and welcome. The last panelist we have is Meenakshi Gupta. Meenakshi is an Ayurveda physician and a gold medalist. She is classically trained Vaidya as well and is the founder of AyurRoots Ayurveda Wellness. It's again an integrated and holistic wellness practice in Plano, Texas, offering Ayurveda nutrition and wellness services. She is also an international brand ambassador for Unilever for its hair care products. She sees clients of various age groups with various health issues. She has done clinical research on bedwetting, ADHD, and learning disabilities in kids, and has numerous research articles published on same. She also offers consultations on Ayurveda diet and lifestyle, gut health, weight management, diabetes, and women's health. She currently serves as faculty members for various Ayurveda colleges across the US and Europe. She is also an international keynote speaker, offers educational workshops, online courses, and Ayurveda culinary classes. Apart from this, she is part of various nonprofit organizations for women's health and Ayurveda research publications. Welcome, Meenakshi.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the Chamber for giving everybody the opportunity to create more awareness about the Ayurveda, especially in this time. And I'm happy to be part of the panelist. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Now let's start with the discussion. I would like Sapna to first start off addressing the philosophical difference between Western and Eastern practices, basically Western medicine and Ayurveda.
I was getting unmuted. Well, thank you again. So I wanted to share a couple of slides. I'm a visual person. I'm a visual learner. So I always like to have things in front of me. So I wanted to quickly share my screen. Can you all see this?
Not yet. Sapna.
Not yet. Okay. Share. Okay. So as Shanti did a great introduction and also shared this, I'm wanted to do this one more time on behalf of all the panelists here. Thank you for the opportunity. And also we are all spreading awareness of Ayurveda in all our different ways, in our specialties, and in various forms of whether it's consulting, products, diet, different modalities of Ayurveda. It is a very broad science. So the intention of this webinar is purely for education, for awareness. So I wanted to have the slide up here. Ayurveda, as I'll tell you in a minute, is a highly scientific, holistic medicine from medical science, and it's also regarded as a complementary health. So if you are practicing Ayurveda, or if you get inspired by today's webinar and want to introduce something new in your lifestyle and diet, make sure that you are getting your healthcare professional involved. Consult with your doctor, especially if you have any chronic illnesses. So this presentation today is purely for education purposes. So I wanted to, before I touch the philosophical differences between Ayurveda and Western medicine, I want to talk about what Ayurveda is for those of us that may not be aware of it, or they may have heard the term, but are not really clear about the terminology. So Ayurveda, as I said, is a holistic medicine that dates back more than 5,000 years and came from the Vedic, culture of India. Ayurveda is made up of two words, Ayur, which means life or daily living. And life does not only mean physical life, it means emotional, mental, also spiritual life. And Veda could be knowledge, knowing, or science. So for practical purposes, it's easy to say that Ayurveda is truly a science of life. And being a science of life, I tell people I am a constant student of Ayurveda. Ayurveda teaches us, every single moment to moment awareness, being in sync with and in harmony with nature. So the main objectives of Ayurveda, or Ayurvedic studies and science, is to preserve the health of the healthy, to promote the health of the healthy, and to prevent and cure the disease of the ill person. So it's kind of different from a Western allopathic system of medicine. I always tell people the best time for you to make an appointment with your Ayurvedic practitioner is when you think you are in good health, because that's a great time to understand who you are and have a deep study in the Ayurvedic aspect. And so that can become a nice, baseline level of who your prakriti and your body constitution and things are. Ayurveda is very practical. I also tell people that you don't have to be born in India to practice Ayurveda. You don't have to be of Indian origin to practice Ayurveda. And you don't have to cook Indian to practice Ayurveda. It can be practiced by anyone, anywhere, any part of the world. And what Ayurveda does, I think that is such a beauty of the science, is it empowers each of us. It teaches us that every individual is capable of self-healing. So nowadays on social media, the buzzwords are self-care, self-love. I tell people learning Ayurveda and practicing Ayurvedic, medicine and lifestyle is getting a deep dive within you, and that's a great way of self-care and self-love. Ayurveda puts that emphasis on the individual because each one of us is capable of healing. Also, being a dietitian, I have a Western side of brain and an Eastern side of brain. Born and raised in India, but here I've been here now for more than 2 decades. I also feel it's a great responsibility for me to provide Ayurveda in the most authentic form, so it doesn't get diluted. I also tell people Ayurveda is not a voodoo science. So you got to be clear about that. World Health Organization regards Ayurveda as traditional medicine. NIH, or National Institute of Health, regards Ayurveda as complementary and alternative medicine. So there are a lot of different research studies, and I'm sure Dr. Meenakshi and Gauri are going to share some of those, that there are so much studies that are being done. And I know Dr. Meenakshi is involved in teaching and is a faculty at different places too. So I wanted to kind of lay the groundwork of what Ayurveda Ayurveda is. Going into the differences between Ayurveda and modern medicine. Ayurveda focuses on mind, body, and spirit. My advanced training is by my teacher. I consider Dr. Vasant Lad as my teacher, and he is the father of modern Ayurveda. And he often tells that the modern mind and the modern medicine is now getting comfortable by using the word body mind. It may take a few more decades for them to embrace the word spirit or soul. Modern medicine is more focused on the physical aspect of health. There's a recent openness. Now doctors are okay to tell mind-body connection. Ayurveda prevents the disease and treats the whole individual, whereas modern medicine treats the disease and it's more of a quick fix. It's more of a symptomatic management of illness. So if you are going to a doctor for allergies, your doctor is only going to say what the symptoms are and has an algorithm and has a protocol to follow as to which route of treatment based on the symptoms the patient demonstrates. Ayurveda goes deeper into the layer as to find out what the root of that allergies might be. So Ayurveda gives a lot of importance to qualitative and does not ignore subjectivity. So I understand, being a dietitian, I have been involved in many different research studies and quality control trials during my work and my tenure at Baylor, Dallas. And I completely admire and I have huge respect for evidence-based and objective analysis and data. But what Ayurveda teaches us to have equal respect on the qualitative aspects and not just the measurable things. Example being nutrition, right? Food, Western medicine focuses more on calories and carbohydrates and proteins. Ayurveda teaches us that same food, let's dive deeper. What is the gunas or the quality of that particular food and how does it apply in different seasons? So just to give you an example. Ayurveda is a multi-approach, and you will learn from today, hopefully from our panel, as to how, even though we all practice Ayurveda, how diverse we are. Because Ayurveda gives us that opportunity to have a multi-approach, whether it's diet, lifestyle, herbs, meditation, pranayam, detox, or Panchakarma. Whereas modern medicine, there's a focus on single approach kind of care. Whether it's medicine or surgery or diet and exercise, is getting more focus about diet and exercise. Doctors usually don't spend time focusing on that. I cannot complete this slide, and this the difference being here is the connection that Ayurveda has to nature. You cannot, teach Ayurveda or practice Ayurveda without, sharing about how deeply connected it is to live in harmony with nature. And I don't think modern medicine focuses that much on that. So that's how I wanted to share about that particular question.
Wow, Sapna, that was really good. I mean, very detailed answer. And I really love the way you put it all together. Thank you for that. Now, you spoke about the multi-pronged approach. Mm-hmm. So I would like to start with Gauri to see if you can maybe, Gauri, speak more from the food, spice, and the everyday, how our everyday immunity is impacted by those. And if you can elaborate on that, that would be great.
Sure. Thank you so much, Shanti. So when we talk about, immunity, how nutrition, Ayurveda, all these come together, one thing I definitely want to talk about is the stress impact. Okay? Now, when I talk about the stress impact, let me talk a little about the physiology part so everybody is aware about that. So when we are stressed out, what happens is we release a hormone called as cortisol. Okay. Now, cortisol normally, in a matter of 7 to 8 hours, it comes down, it's protective in nature. But if we are in that constant environment of stress for a really long time, what it happens is it creates an environment of inflammation. So it's chronic inflammation. And the more chronic inflammation we have, we find that, people become more predisposed to a lot of different disease states. So it can be diabetes, it can be prediabetes and things. So it becomes more like the chronic nature. It can also actually have an effect on our immunity. So when you talk about, Ayurveda, as I say, is in the nature science. We talk about diet. So Ayurveda focuses a lot on the diet aspect, some of the things we want to have on a daily basis. we want to have some of those spices. And an example of that, simple things, something like turmeric. It's considered anti-inflammatory. A lot of research done on turmeric. In fact, in my master's, I had done my research on, curcumin, which is one of the active ingredients in turmeric, and its effect on melanoma. Okay, so turmeric is one of the most, the golden spice that we have. Then we have ginger, also considered anti-inflammatory. It's considered antibacterial. We also have cumin, coriander. Then we have fennel as well, black pepper. Now, all these spices together, when they work together, we take them as a synergy. It creates more of a synergetic effect. And that's what we want to think about, is including these spices on a daily basis in our foods, so we can actually get those wellness benefits from it, which will not only boost our immunity as well. The other three things I definitely want to talk about is three important nutrients, being a registered dietitian as well. Vitamin C, because it's an antioxidant. What it does, it protects our bodies against the oxidative stress coming in from these free radicals. So again, it helps with, helping our bodies with, again, giving that immunity boosting effect. Second important nutrient I do want to talk about is the vitamin D. Okay. And vitamin D, there's a lot of studies which actually show that people who have lower vitamin D can actually have their immunity compromised or can have a lower effect on the immunity. And the third important nutrient I definitely want to talk about is zinc. To make sure that we have enough zinc coming in, because zinc is important to provide that communication in our body for the immunity. So we want to make sure that vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, and a lot of these Ayurvedic spices we are including in our daily diet. We are having more of a balanced diet. We don't want to take out any of those key nutrients or the key food parts as well, making sure it's all balanced. At the same time, it's what I call the freshness, making foods from the scratch at home, cooked foods. And I'm a big proponent of making your foods from the scratch, because we are in better control of all the nutrients, quality, and what goes in those foods. So that's how basically I will end, is making sure that including spices in our meals, making sure our foods are freshly cooked, and making sure that we're getting these three important nutrients, vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc in our diet.
That was very nice. In Indian cooking, most of these spices are used every day, and we don't even think about it. It's just part of, we have that box with all spices and we just end up using them. So it's good to know that there is science behind it. Thank you for that. Sure. Hey, Meenakshi, I know you have done a lot of work on gut health and science behind it. I would like you to focus a little bit on gut health and also speak about the stress management that you were talking about earlier.
Yes. So when we talk about today's scenario with the pandemic, the gut health is very, very important. If you see, the Ayurveda speaks about the principles. It does not give us like a the one size fits all. So everybody is unique. Everybody has a different body type, and everybody eats food differently according to the season. So one of the main component of Ayurveda when it comes to the Ayurveda nutrition is the diet part. And in Ayurveda, we say that the diet should be seasonally. Why it is so seasonally? Ayurveda is a 5,000-year-old science, and now see the in this scenario also relates to today contemporary to the coronavirus or the immunobooster. We see that the seasonal diet plays an important role. And when it comes to the seasonal, how it is related to the modern way? First of all, the gut microbiome, which is very, very kind of like a buzzword these days. The gut microbiome changes with the season. So in Ayurveda, 5,000-year-old now science, imagine telling us to eat seasonally. There are certain bacteria which help in complex carb digestion. So those bacteria flourish naturally during that season when there is an abundance of complex carb through the nature. And if somebody is, for example, if somebody is taking those complex carbs or the starches throughout the year, then those starches are going to be high in the blood, and can lead to the diabetes. So that's how the diet needs to be modified according to the season. There are certain the gut bacteria or the microbiome which helps in the fat digestion. So those fat digestive bacteria get in abundance during the winter time. So that's how it helps in the seasonal diet, that the gut microbiome, to keep it in the balanced state, we have to follow the seasonal diet. Then the gut microbiome is also related to the brain through the gut-brain axis. So that's how, if we are not following the seasonal diet, for example, or we are under stress, as the Gauri explained, that the stress also plays an important role for the immune system. So if we are stressed, that is going to lower the immune system through working through the gut microbiome. So in a nutshell, we say that to keep the physical and the mental health, follow the seasonal diet so that we can keep the gut microbiome in a check according to the season. And also stress, when the cortisol level rises, that can lead to the leaky gut, which again, we won't absorb the nutrients properly and putting us risk for the lower immune system. So that's how it is interconnected.
When we go through life, we don't even think about most of these things. I mean, we buy whatever is available. There are actually these days, there are artificially created food out of season, and we don't think about the seasonality. We just buy them and use them. But this gives a different perspective, and thank you for sharing that with us, Meenakshi. And I also, yes, please.
Though you mentioned that there is a very hard to differentiate what is in the season, what is not in the season. So when you go to the local farmers market, most of the products are coming locally and those are in abundance. So then you can see that. And if you don't have access to the farmers market also, small tip, go and check the price structure. That will give you an idea what is in the season or what is not in the season.
Oh, that's a very good tip. Many times we just pick things up and come, we don't look at the price point. But these are very good tips. I hope the listeners benefit from that. Now, I do understand that food, spice, mind and body and all of that is addressed by Ayurveda. Gunny, I was really touched by your story actually. When I read your introduction, I was very touched by how you got interested in Ayurveda. Instead of me sharing, I would like you to share with the listeners on, how, I'll just let you take it from here and share what brings you here today.
Yeah, no, thank you, Shanti. I just want to say, Sapna, Meenakshi, and Gauri, you guys each gave such a beautiful type of snippet, and it's, such a pleasure to be here with you. I can just feel the energy and the passion. So I just want to say that's fantastic. And I'd never imagined that, Ayurveda would be the focus and we'd have something like that. So I'm super excited to get into kind of how I got into Ayurveda. See, I was always exposed to it at an early age. But now if we want to talk about awareness, I had Ayurveda around me. As you mentioned earlier, my dad is an Ayurvedic practitioner and also practices naturopathy. So he got his naturopathic degree from Bastyr University in Washington State. So growing up, I always had Ayurveda around me. Now, whether I acknowledged it and lived it was different until I got to a certain age. I'll give you a little example. I would take my lunch with me when I was in 4th and 5th grade. While my friends were eating chips and drinking Coke, here I was, making sure it was coconut water or roti made from my the home. And sometimes I would be a little embarrassed or thrown off, like what the heck, why can't I have this? But I would later learn that I would develop allergies to certain things. I would have headaches to certain foods, and I was exposed to meditation, yoga, awareness, your kind of the role the emotions play, how, as Meenakshi, you were saying, living within the seasons, eating seasonal foods. But none of that would wrap around truly for me, and I would feel the power of Ayurveda as I did in 2006 when my brother passed away. When my brother passed away, it was well-intended advice. I took it the other way. I took it to mean that, you know, be strong. A lot of people say that when people pass away, and, you know, I was the eldest son, he was the youngest, and it was me, my mom and dad. If you think about the life cycle of how things happen, that's not how the life cycle is supposed to happen. Your youngest one is not supposed to pass, and then all of a sudden it's usually the grandparent, then the father, then that, you know. So when everything is reversed, you don't know what to do. And as Gauri, you were saying, the cortisol and adrenals, the whole family was in a constant fight or flight with the emotions. There was no actual danger, but the fight or flight came from the anxiety, the post-traumatic stress disorder, which my dad diagnosed me with later. So as the events were happening, you know, we're doing the cremation and everything, I was in a zombie state, didn't know what was happening, totally shut down from the emotions, didn't cry because I thought being strong meant holding everything in. And I'll tell everybody here, and I tell this on my podcast, I share it with anybody that interviews me, that is the worst thing to do. As human beings, when we grieve, you're supposed to cry. It's how we move through things. It's how we are with our emotions. Don't hold it in. Being strong does not mean you hold emotions in. Being strong, as my panelists I'm sure will agree, means you're able to feel the emotions, be with the emotions, but not let the emotions take you over. Imagine it's like the ocean. There is rough waves, but the whole ocean is not disturbed. There are waves that disturb you and go. And that's the same thing with emotions. So being strong to me means being in touch with your emotions. But I didn't learn that until 6 months later when I wanted to move on from my brother. I was in a deep depressive state, anxiety, panic attacks. I was having at least, I think, 10 to 12 panic attacks a day. And I had no idea what was going on with me. Like all of a sudden, I'm okay, happy. The next day, my brother passes. Then 6 months later, just boom, my whole life is turned upside down. I have to drop out of school. I can't function. I'm basically tied to my parents. I can't be without them because I guess I also developed agoraphobia and all that. But, you know, my dad looked at me one day, and when I think he was just like, he was, you know, being a father is tough too. And he looked at me and he said, look, okay, you clearly are going through PTSD. I kind of came to him and said, Dad, I don't feel good at all. I really sometimes don't even want to live. I mean, what the heck is going on with me? And he, you know, he knew, he's been in practice for 40 years. He diagnosed me with PTSD. And what he said was something I'll never forget. He said, look, you have two options here. We can go down the pharmaceutical route, which in my whole lifetime, I'll probably put 5 people on pharmaceutical medications, 3 of which kind of forced me to do it, 2 of which I really wanted to combine it with other things. And he goes, I don't want my son to be the 6th one. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to teach you how to be with your emotions, how you grieve properly, change your diet, put you on herbs, and most importantly, change up your lifestyle. Within 30 to 45 days of following that protocol, the Ayurvedic balanced protocol, being in tune with myself, because as you are, as outside, so what is inside is outside is a reflection, being in balance with that, I was completely transformed. In fact, much better, because now I had awareness around my thoughts and emotions. And so that's kind of my story. That's what rooted me into my belief in Ayurveda. I'm so happy to see my fellow panelists living each sect of it and helping people through nutrition, counseling, and products. But that's what inspired me to be where I am. And I know there's many others that, you know, do suffer, unfortunately, like that. But as long as we can help reduce that suffering or make you understand that you can get better. When I was at 0.0, literally, you know, and then I'm thankful forever, of course, for my dad, but it's also amazing to be able to share this with everybody.
Thank you, Gunny. I know it was a personal story. I'm so glad you shared it. I don't think I could have done justice to that.
No,
you know,
thank you.
It all brings back that we are the God or whatever that power is. They built us in tune with nature in so many different ways. And this COVID situation also makes us question that, lot of that. Anyway, instead of going too much in detail, Sapna, I would like, I was actually intrigued when you said after doing Ayurveda and all of that, you got interested in culinary wellness and, you know, how you can use that to educate people or your clients. Could you please talk more on that and, you know, your, whatever it is, it's techniques or style?
Sure. So I never, you know, growing up, I was born and raised in Mumbai. I never knew this was the path that is going to be a lifelong path for me. You know, but I feel like I've studied nutrition and food and done so much with critical care. And then in 2012, I left at my peak at Baylor and said, I want to create my own path and my own journey. And I started my company, and I invited people home in my kitchen and taught them how to cook healthy. After thousands and thousands of hours of counseling patients, I could see many a times the word healthy, the word whole grains, the word healthy fats didn't mean the same. What my mind was interpreting and what people were seeing are two different things. Right? Ayurveda teaches us, right? Ayurveda teaches us, modern medicine tells you, you are what you eat. Ayurveda teaches us, you are what you can digest. So when I say eat healthy, cut down on your carbs, people don't know what that is. People may not even have access to that. And I said, let me open the doors. People wanted, and there was also a great awareness about becoming vegetarian, but people were telling me, and people always would be curious about the way I ate at work, because I would take my dabba of rice and dal and, you know, roti sabzi, and people would always get intrigued when I would open my dabba. And so I felt that was a very comforting, a very welcoming way of introducing people to my culture, to my story, to who I am through the food. It just became a very natural way. I always would end up talking about food. And so I just opened the doors, and I cannot tell you what a fulfilling experience it has been since then, that people understand, oh, this is chickpea flour, came from a garbanzo bean. And they said, what a light bulb. Thank you so much. Oh, this yellow powder that you use in India came from turmeric root, and curry leaves, and the word curry has no connection to it, right? So just simple, digestible things. It just is such a fulfilling experience. And I just feel like this is just the beginning of what I'm doing. And there's just so much more that can be done in the food and spice area. But I wanted to expand on the diet practices, you know, because I know that is our focus right now, is to spread awareness about this panic virus that we have right now. There's coronavirus, and what Gauri touched, and thank you, Gunny, for sharing that. And when you were saying that, it's the same thing. Your flow, your emotional flow just got stuck, and you were just not able to digest what was happening to you. And it took that processing, it took time. So, you know, we have to be able to digest. I also tell people, you can go to the best restaurant and have organic produce, spend money on organic foods, and make, or go to a chef and have a personal chef come at home if you have money, and prepare the most lavish meals. But if your gut and your brain cannot digest that, no amount of those organic food will do anything for you, okay? So, but I wanted to provide, I'm going to share some things again, because as I said, I'm a visual learner, and I wanted to keep this slides in front of you. Hopefully, some of these things can be easily digestible for you. And I want you to, you know, take and maybe a couple of tips that make sense right now in this time of, you know, COVID. Let me just, hold on. I wanted to talk about the diet. So simple things that can be done right now. There's a lot of panic. There's a lot of anxiety. And I know, you know, Meenakshi and Gauri have touched on some things, but I wanted to keep this in front of you and see what appeals to you. What is it that you can digest right now? What resources you may have, you know, because not all of us have the same resource. I also often hear, we are in this together. We are all in this coronavirus together. And then I read something that resonated so beautifully to me. We are in this storm together, but our boats are not the same. We may not have the same resources. We are in our own individual boat right now. weathering this storm. So, I want you all to definitely see how we can focus on seasonal foods. And Gauri and Meenakshi mentioned that. Other thing that is very important and we often miss is staying hydrated. You want to ensure that you are sipping on water, if possible, sipping on warm water, because that really helps, liquefy the kapha. It's an Ayurvedic term of mucus. So that can be good. Also, it's a great time. Hold on one second. I feel like I have a couple of chat. I don't want to ignore any chat coming. Okay.
Continue.
Okay, if you are able to make some spiced broths, this is not the time to do a lot of raw salad or raw food or cold water, cold juices, cold food. Instead, if you can do stir fries, if you can do spice broths, add some of the spices. Gauri touched about turmeric. I'm going to talk about a few other spices. Any spices, again, it doesn't have to be Indian. It could be any spices that could be in your pantry. Cook with healthy fats. And it could be avocado, it could be, any kind of vegetable oil of your choice, whatever you have access to and resources available. Do not forget to nourish your skin, because that is your biggest organ. So make sure that your skin is moist and lubricated too. And this is the time, there's just so much anxiety and so much of confusion and panic. Focus on making food that are easy to digest. So foods that are cooked, foods that are warm are going to be easier to digest. Dr. Gupta, Meenakshi, she mentioned about gut microbiome. This is a great opportunity to diversify our food choices if we can. If we are the same meat and potato kind of a lifestyle, the same kind of 2 or 3 vegetables in your diet, see if you can cook a new dish, a new ethnic dish right now. There are so many opportunities available. Everybody's on virtual space, doing a lot of online cooking classes that are available. Everybody's offering a lot of free things right now. See if you can cook something different. Ayurveda talks about a balanced meal is one that has all the 6 tastes. The 6 Ayurvedic tastes being sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, astringent. So you don't have to cook 6 things. A simple bowl of soup can have all those 6 tastes as well. And then apart from the nutrients, the antioxidants that Gauri touched about, zinc, vitamin C, if it's possible, see if you can include some fermented foods and probiotic foods in your diet right now. If you're from an Indian origin, things like idlis and dosas are great. Or you could do kimchi, kombucha, or sauerkraut, anything that you have access to. And again, a little amount, because I also keep stressing in all my offerings and lectures, just because something is good, too much is not better. Is okay? Just because turmeric has all this medicinal power, having turmeric shots, putting a turmeric face mask, taking a bath with some turmeric powder, and just drinking golden milk at night. And I could probably say that none of us went to bed every single day of our life drinking golden milk in our hand, right? It's a very Western kind of marketing strategy of doing it. There is a time and place for everything. And I know right now there's lots of panic and, we're all stuck at home. But if it's possible, do your best to cut down on sugar and sugary foods and processed foods, and any kinds of spices and herbs. And I'll touch about spices and herbs in a few minutes, but I wanted to just kind of give you something basic, something easy, and hopefully you can pick something that is easy to digest for you right now. So let me just stop sharing there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was really good, Sapna.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing that you guys are also knowledgeable and you have so much to share. I wish we had, this go for a long time, but I'm trying to do the best within the time that we have. We have spoken quite a bit about food, spices, and stress management and all of that. And we also spoke about gut health a little bit. Meenakshi, I want to come back to you, and I would like you to introduce. I've heard of these terms, Panchakarma and Abhyanga. Could you please introduce that to our listeners, what it means and how it can help them?
So Panchakarma is a biomodality. Panch means 5, karma means procedures. And that can be done even to maintain the health, and as well as if somebody has the health condition, to address that as well. And in Ayurveda, we say that ideal time for Panchakarma, all the 5 therapies might not be suitable for everybody. So depending upon the health condition and season and constitution, we pick the therapies. And the benefit of that is you are resetting your body, you are resetting your gut to adapt for the upcoming season. So 2 seasons we say that is the best for the Panchakarma. One is the spring season, which is right now, and the fall season. So spring season is being as a naturally, if you see that, the mucus producing. So a lot of people, they get the seasonal allergies during spring and fall, and digestion also gets a little bit hampered during that. Digestion slows down actually during spring season. The reason being is because, first of all, the pollens. The sprouted pollens, that creates irritation to the mucous membrane of the nasal cavity. You can say that, and also leads to, if the person's immune system is not working correctly, then it is going to lead to the nasal allergies. The another thing in Ayurveda, we say that the previous winter season, whatever we have accumulated by adding the rich diet, fat diet in the form of nuts, ghee, or the meat, those lead to the kapha accumulation. Kapha, you can say it's one of the dosha, and with the 2 elements, earth and water. So being earth and water involved in that, the kapha, it is heavy, sticky in nature. So in layman language, we can correlate with the mucus. So that kapha we get accumulated during the winter season. And since now the sun rays started getting stronger, so as you see the snow started melting, that the accumulated kapha also started melting and coming out of the various channels to the digestive system. So that's the time period where it dampens the digestive system, digestion slows down, and a lot of people experience indigestion also, and cold and congestion and respiratory symptoms. So how we can take care of that? By incorporating the diet, as Sapna also suggested in that beautiful presentation, by the way, Sapna, in that one should have the diet which is not mucus producing. So this is not the time where you should include in having cheese, cottage cheese, or milk product in the diet. In fact, one should have a diet which can have the opposite properties of the mucus producing. So for that, for example, one can include ginger powder, black pepper, long pepper. Those are the things one can include. And the diet needs to be lighter in nature. So what happens normally, because of the daytime we are working, and night is the majority of the time when I see the clients, the night is the time which becomes their main meal. So night is the time when the digestion always slows down, because as the sun goes down, digestion also slows down, because that's how our body prepares ourselves for good night's sleep. And when we sleep, our body works on immune system and repairing itself. So if there is a heavy meal sitting in the stomach during the night time, that also affects our immune system. And similar reason for the fall also, since we we have a major change from summer to the winter, that's how we get into the imbalance. So in a nutshell, those are the 2 seasons where one should go for the Panchakarma or the detox. And how it will be helpful, it will reset our gut. And also if somebody is feeling stressful, so the Abhyanga, which you asked, Shanti, Abhyanga actually works on the parasympathetic nervous system. So Abhyanga is a warm oil massage. And the oil, choice of oil is also according to the season and according to the body type or according to the health condition. So when we work through different strokes by addressing the marma points, which are the vital points in the body, 108 vital points in the body. So when we address through the marma points and do the body massage, one can do by self body massage, or they can come to the center also. And that actually works on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is a rest and digest. And that's how it helps in calming the mind. And we have seen that it actually helps in lowering the blood sugar level, lowers the blood pressure also. Because through working through the parasympathetic nervous system, even Gauri has experienced, we talk often about that the 30 to 40 numbers of the drop in the blood sugar level, same for the blood pressure level also. And it generates a lot of happy hormones in the body, working through the, again, parasympathetic nervous system. So these are the a few benefits of the Panchakarma: lowering the stress level, regenerating the gut health, and overall wellness one can achieve through the Panchakarma.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Gauri, I know you also are a practitioner for both Panchakarma and Abhyanga. If you would like to add to that, and also on the seasonality of foods, I would like to, you to expand on that.
Thanks, Shanti. So definitely, whatever Sapna said and Meenakshi, they touched base upon the seasonal foods and things, the importance of different, including different spices and things. But one thing I definitely want to talk about with the seasonality of foods, especially when you think about, why different foods in different seasons. And a perfect example of that is that even Mother Nature actually prepares us for that. And we look at, how different foods are available and what are in abundance. So when do we actually see a lot of the nuts being available? That's more in the winter. And the reason for that is nuts are naturally very warming. They actually help us protect that heat in the body. And that's why we see a lot of these nuts in the winter, and it produces this natural heat. And that's why, in winter, that's the time when our Agni, our digestive power is the strongest. We want to create that heat. We want to protect that heat. That's where we want to really consume more of these nuts. In summer, remember that these nuts are going to be more of the heat producing, where you want to consume less of them. In summer, we want to have foods that are have more of the water element in them. And then again, if you look at what's available in abundance, we have foods such as, or fruits, for example, we have cantaloupes, watermelon, honeydew, which have more of the water element, which help us naturally quench the thirst. So again, as I said, Ayurveda is what I say is Ayurveda is a nature science. So it helps us keep in alignment with not only our body, but also in the mind. But also, it looks at the whole person. It's a whole person science. Okay. Let me also touch base on the Panchakarma aspect, the importance, and Meenakshi explained it really well. With Panchakarma, it helps us actually set our baseline. So not only it helps us with our digestion, okay, it also helps with the overall stress effect. And just an example of that, as Meenakshi talked about, was the Abhyanga. Okay. Now, Abhyanga, an example of what I've seen in my practice, I see a lot of patients for diabetes as well. I'm a certified diabetes educator. One of the ways I actually include Abhyanga into my practice is that when a client comes in, we have him check his blood sugars before and after to show him the effect of Abhyanga. And we see that after a single Abhyanga of 60 minutes with warm oil, and it might be a sesame seed oil, depending upon the prakriti of a person, depending upon, again, what the condition is, we find that an instant drop of 30 to 40 points. And it's like an instant feedback that we get. That again, just as Abhyanga works on the parasympathetic nervous system, it helps to reduce the stress. One of the other effects, what it also does, is we have a lymphatic system just below our skin, which is very superficial. So what Abhyanga does, because it's a very, a gentle massage, it actually increases the lymph flow in the body. And we know that our lymphatic system is connected to our immune system as well. So when you're increasing that lymph flow in the body, it also helps with a natural detox as well in the body. So again, Abhyanga is one of the easiest ways to help us reduce our stress on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be a very full-fledged thing. People can come to our office for getting, the Panchakarma and things, but a simple thing they can do on a daily basis. If you like something like, now that we are more going into the spring and then into summer, sesame seed oil. Okay, it's a warming soil. It's a warming oil. Again, for people who want to use coconut oil, again, if they have any allergies for sesame seed oil, they can use a coconut oil, but you want to warm that oil. And a simple massage, maybe 10-15 minutes, even before taking a shower, actually helps a lot with calming the mind. Again, helps with increasing the digestion, helps with the stress response. So again, Panchakarma is, helps to bring our body, our mind, our gut back into balance.
Very nice, very nice. You guys have been able to explain it very, in very simple terms for a layman like me. So thank you so much. We have heard spices and supplements and herbs and all of that. And Gunny, you are actually the most experienced in this panel. You have been sourcing for this for the last 15 plus years. Now, if listeners wants to know, how do they know which one is the best source, which is the authentic source, and what kind of FDA regulations are around that, and even about your own company as to which are the countries that you guys distribute in? Would you like to chip in a little on that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so that's a really good question. I want to cover first and foremost the FDA part of it. So there is supplements, whether they're Ayurvedic, herbal, they fall under dietary supplements, which is a category classified by the FDA as class 005. It's i.e. also a food. There is nothing that is FDA approved unless it's a drug. So it's a big difference. Dietary supplements are also known as and treated as foods. Same with Ayurvedic supplements, all that, even certain things that you see in stores. Now, a lot of times, and I always get this question from sometimes even my friends, and I've been in this industry for a while and have seen it. They say, okay, well, you guys are developed supplements. That means they're not FDA approved. I say, yeah, you're absolutely correct, but that doesn't mean we're not FDA regulated. That doesn't mean we don't follow certain FDA credentials for quality control. That doesn't mean that certain things are not followed GMP-wise, SOP-wise. We're not regulated by NSF and certain criteria to make sure there's a high-quality product. So the questions that consumers can ask, and whether, and this is something that I did with our company, is, to me, the sourcing of it matters, because as my panelists are discussing, there's also an energetic vibration of the herbs. Not every single herb can grow in the same climate at the same time and still yield the best crop. My supplier and source, who is our partner in India, he said to me at one point, he goes, look, if you grow to beyond a certain point, I am not going to be growing more, cultivating more of the certain herb just so, you can have your demand, because I don't believe in, he said these words, he said, I don't believe in raping Mother Nature. I am going to yield to you what Mother Nature yields. That's why we always only use wild harvested organic material. Wild harvested means it's grown as Mother Nature yields. And we source from all over India. Different herbs are grown better in certain parts. Amla is grown in certain parts. Ashwagandha is grown in certain parts. And we've covered turmeric is grown better in certain parts. You can't just, I love how, I mean, this is just my thing. I love how stories are crafted these days. Hey guys, this is my backyard and I grow everything back here. I'm like, really? So you produce X amount of bottles, but it's a 3-acre space. You're able to yield that much? That's really interesting. But I mean, that's just, it's you have the right to ask manufacturers. When people ask me, hey, can I get your C of A's? Can I know your sourcing? Where do you supply? How is the herb grown? I am able to go in and answer, okay, we cultivated and grew the herb here. This is when it came. This is the test we did on it. Did it pass the test? Did it have the assays? Did it have the right markers? Did it qualify as ashwagandha, as having the same biology and same assays? Then we take it to production. After that, did we test the heavy metals? Do the heavy metals pass? Because safety and efficacy is super important. There is naturally occurring heavy metals that are there. For my panelists, as you guys know, Shilajit. Shilajit is a mineral pitch. No matter what you do, you're still going to have naturally occurring heavy metals in it. Now, certain states such as California make it very hard because of Proposition 65 and everything. But, getting back to your point is asking the questions. Consumer nowadays are able to and should be asking questions. At the end of the day, you're ingesting stuff that you trust that's in a bottle or else to go in. You have every right. Ask about the sourcing. Ask about how much testing they do. At what point of testing do they do? Ask about, can you see the certificate of analysis? And I understand most people may not be able to read it, But if you're working with a practitioner or you're working with a doctor, you can show the practitioner and the doctor, and they will have some type of knowledge to read, okay, the heavy metals look okay. There's tracers for, salmonella and other things. Are they fine? Are they clear? Are you using the extract or the raw powder? And why does it make a difference? And these are the things, when we first began YouVeda, that was super important for me to be transparent. And anybody that asks, hey, can I see your C of A? Yeah, of course. Why not? Why am I paying extra for testing and producing it if I'm keeping it to myself? That makes no sense. Our safety efficacy for was that I want to be able to look my son in the eye, go to sleep at night, knowing that, we're producing the highest quality stuff. And when my wife was pregnant with our son, she was taking the supplements in the morning and the evening. And that just is a testament to how much we take the safety. So to address your question, consumers should ask, or at least be able to know, where is the source? Do you guys do testing? Can I ask how you guys are extracting? Can I ask, can I see your C of A, certificate of analysis, to show the safety profile? And also just really ask them, do you guys, your production, how do you guys understand and know that whatever you're producing is actually in the label? Do you guys, most important thing, is there a third party that's testing it? Not everything that comes from me is only tested in my facility. We send it out as part of protocols, standard operating procedures that go with CFR by the FDA and GMP guidelines. That, okay, Shanti, I'm giving you this, but then Shanti's like, wait a minute, you're the manufacturer. Can I really trust you? I'm going to send it out and get it. Okay, both match. So these are questions that you can ask. I mean, I can go into a whole host of things, but these are the basic things. And the US FDA organic label does carry some weight to me, okay? I'm not going to say it's a tried and true thing, because I know how you get the organic certification, and it does carry weight, but that's not the only thing you should just rest your morals on. You should also ask the questions, and you have every right to, and customer service and the quality control people should be able to address that.
Thank you so much, Gunny. I see a lot of passion in that response. And it's good that, your wife used that too. So it talks a lot about the quality that you guys are trying to maintain. I'll go with the last question to Sapna, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So Sapna, though we heard so many great things about Ayurveda, and I know in India, we do have Ayurveda as a medicine that is practiced, but it's still not accredited in US. And you are part of a couple of committees with NAMA, which is National Ayurvedic Medical Association. So I would like to ask you about what these associations are doing to help this get accredited in US.
That's a great question. And I think it'll be tying into what Gunny introduced us about all the different regulations and the questions. We all have to understand that the access to knowledge and education for all layperson is we are surrounded by all that knowledge from internet and web. So it's very important for us to ask questions to not only what we are eating and herb supplement, but also who we are, getting our consults from, and who the practitioner or what their credentials are. So Ayurveda is in this universities of Ayurveda in America, definitely in India, and Meenakshi and Gauri have studied Ayurveda in India. I have not formally studied Ayurveda in India. I have studied nutrition. That has been my foundation. But they have studied, and they know that the rigorous training that goes into becoming a BAMS and getting your studies. Ayurveda, as of now in the United States, and Meenakshi and Gauri, you can jump in and add also to it, is not regulated. We are working hard. There are different organizations, and doesn't mean that NAMA or National Ayurvedic Medical Association is the gold standard, but it is one of the oldest organization and has working really hard. And it's also one of the widely accepted organization here in the United States for Ayurveda. And it is, it started off, if you learn the history, just by 4 people in 1998, just came together and said, let's have an organization. And now it has grown really, really far and wide. So they are working on board certification. They're working on examination now. There are different levels of Ayurvedic practitioners. You can be an Ayurveda health counselor, and that does not allow you, and there are different scopes of practices under each level. So an Ayurveda wellness practitioner or a lifestyle practitioner is not allowed to give you any herb recommendations. Ayurvedic practitioner, that's what I am. I'm a NAMA certified Ayurveda practitioner. They have a little higher designation, and they have different scope of practice. And there's a third one getting developed, or it's already developed, but it's working more to get it more unified and expand, is the Ayurvedic physician program here in the United States. So I'm thinking it's only going to get better, and we are hoping that in the next few years that we will have more broad scope of practice to practice Ayurveda. But at this time, I would just say, just be cautious, and at the same time, just be an informed client. Ask questions, just the way Gunny encourages us to ask questions about herbs. It's very important for you to ask questions. Just because somebody is Ayurveda word attached to it doesn't mean. Ask their credentials, ask their educational background, ask their certification. How are they keeping up with it? And Nama, by the way, I just want to do a little plug, because if anybody of our audience is interested right now, as we are doing this webinar on Friday, the prestigious annual conference of NAMA is happening, and it was supposed to be on site, but because of COVID is their first virtual. So if anybody is interested, there are 40 or so different panelists and speakers. Dr. Deepak Chopra is there. Dr. Lad is going to speak. So there's a variety of presentations happening right now, all the way through Sunday, if anybody's curious.
Thank you, Sapna. That was a good explanation to the accreditation. Now we are going to open up for Q&A. I have a lot of questions. I hope I don't run out of time. The first question is, it says, I started taking Triphala Churna recently. However, my throat and esophagus started to burn after a couple of days. I stopped it. Is this common, and do I continue or no? I'll let Meenakshi answer that question.
So normally Triphala does not cause the burning sensation in the throat, but we have to look into again, as Gunny said, the quality of the herb matters. So the source matters. So sometimes if it is added fillers, that can cause the issue. And the other thing is Triphala standalone is a very, very powerful Ayurvedic medicine. So if you want to consume, it has to come with the proper guidance how to take it, because there are numerous ways to take the Triphala. So if you have any issue you are feeling with the Triphala, I would say that stop and consult a Ayurveda practitioner or Ayurveda physician, and then go from there.
You also were talking about using it with warm water or honey. I mean,
normally it is that the Triphala one should take at night time, either with the warm water or with the honey, or in the daytime also one can take in the morning, depending upon if they want to have for what purpose they are taking. But ideally it should be with either warm water or with the honey.
Okay. Thank you for that. There is another question from Jayant. His question was, what masalas to avoid during this time? I am assuming he's talking either about the season or about the COVID. I'll let you answer on both the accounts, Gauri.
I was just unmuting myself. Okay, so I'll also touch base on what Meenakshi said, and that was absolutely wonderful the way she explained. Keep in mind that all these Ayurvedic herbs have to be taken for a certain number of time or amount of duration. You can't just take them for a particular 6 months. Sometimes people take it for years and years without realizing that it can actually cause more damage than the actual benefit. So keep in mind that before you take Triphala or any of the Ayurvedic herbs and things, you do want to consult a trained Ayurvedic practitioner who has a lot of experience in that. And the other question, can you repeat again, Shanti? What was the other question you had?
It was mostly about masalas to use during this time. It says this time, so I'm not sure if you meant season or whether it meant like the COVID situation.
Okay. So during this time, and as Meenakshi also had said earlier, and we talked about that, you know, during different seasons, different doshas get out of balance. And right now we see more of the kapha, and we want to have more of the spices which have the opposite qualities. That means which are more warming in nature. So definitely want to include, you know, something like turmeric. And if you want to include turmeric, make sure you're including black pepper with that, because it increases the efficacy of turmeric, the way it's absorbed in your body. And along with that, you know, maybe if you're using cumin, you know, fennel as well, because as I said, it's not just one spice, it's all the spices together, which actually create that synergy. So you may think about adding ginger. You know, it has more of the antibacterial properties, the anti-inflammatory properties. So again, adding all these together in our foods, and the best way to have all of these things is through our food, adding them through our, you know, while you're cooking your meals, or you're cooking, let's say, sauteing your vegetables, or let's say making a dal and thing, you're adding the tadka and things for that. You know, so adding those spices while you're cooking so that they get absorbed and they get, you know, the nutrients and things that absorb really well. So that's one of the best ways to have them.
Thank you, Gauri. The next question is open. I don't know who would be the right person to answer it. Question is about after shower, what oil should be used? Now, I don't know if it is for your hair or body, but if there are any specifics and one of you would like to take it up, you're welcome.
The best oil, I would say that is sesame oil. We say that in Ayurveda. But if you have more heat producing body where you see a lot of acne issue and all, then you can use either coconut oil or even the neutral oil, which is an olive oil one can use after the shower. So a few drops after the shower, just apply on the whole body and rinse it off, and then you can wipe yourself off. So in that way, you can utilize the oil after the shower. But if you do before shower, then leave it for at least 15 to 20 minutes, then take the shower.
So I actually would encourage people. I know in the Western lifestyle, we actually lubricate and moisten our skin after a shower, but I would ask y'all to just try this, you know, and encourage you to try this is oil your body, do a self-massage before you go and jump into a shower. So you can, as Meenakshi and Gauri have stressed, you know, any kind of oil. So think about any oils that is safe to digest, to ingest. It should be fine. So if sesame can be too strong of a smell, you know, that's the most ideal oil, but you can even use some sweet almond oil. You can use coconut oil. It depends on you. All of us are unique. So you have to adjust to who you are, but do those massage and then jump into a warm shower. Don't put too much of soap when you're in the shower, just less amount of soap, and then, you know, dry yourself and you feel the difference. Your skin would be more supple, would be more soft, and, you know, would not require excess lubrication after. So just try that.
And I definitely want to stress on that as well, is that, you know, sesame seed is definitely one of the best options that has been talked about in Ayurveda and things. But again, you know, an easier way, if you think that when it's sesame seed is maybe, again, it may be the smell and things you're a little more averse to, easy way is just to doing half and half of sesame seed or half of coconut oil. You know, that's easier to just have for a few drops. Again, best is before having a shower. So your skin has an opportunity to absorb that oil and take it deeper into your tissues. So that's one of the best ways. If not, after a shower, the way I explain it to a lot of my clients is just as you're putting cream on your body. So that's where you just need a few drops just after taking a shower. That's the way if you want it. The other thing I definitely want to also stress on this is, especially if you're lower in vitamin D. One of the easiest way to increase a vitamin D content is also adding, you know, doing a self-Abhyanga with sesame seed oil and sitting in the early morning sun to maybe 5 to 10 minutes. That actually may help increase our vitamin D level production much more, because our vitamin D is produced in our skin.
So in turn, it actually helps improve your immunity.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Vitamin D actually helps with the immunity also. And because it works on the, if we are lacking in the vitamin D deficiency, then it leads to depression also. So mental health as well as the physical health. Everybody will get benefit out of that when we take the help from the nature in the form of sunlight. When we sit at 10 to 15 minutes daily, if we can spend time, or over the weekends, that is the best way to consume vitamin D.
And if I can add as well, I mean that's
Yes, please.
great advice. And as everyone was saying, like copy nature, as Meenakshi and Gauri were saying, when do the animals get their vitamin D? It's not in the evening when the sun is you know the most hottest. It's in the early hours. Think about that. And my father always says, mimic nature. You know, they're doing it because they're getting it at the highest level. That's when the sun is, and that's the best time to get it as well. And lathering the oil is a great advice because then you're absorbing a lot more of it. It's a lot more of it is coming as well. So it's like you were saying, Meenakshi, is also excellent for mood enhancing. And many of us, even, you know, I think all of us live in Texas. It's super sunny, but where are we majority of the time? Indoors, artificial light. So you got to get out there in nature as well. And the timing does matter.
And how thankful we are, even though we are in shelter in place here in Dallas, Texas, we have access to taking a walk outside. So now more than ever is the time to have a daily, maybe walk with your family outside, you know, in either it's in the morning time or in the evening time. So that way you're definitely not in the midday where there's too much of harsh rays of the sun, but you know, we're just so thankful. So we just have to take advantage of that. Nature is available. We just have to connect with it.
Yep. I never went for so many walks earlier in my life. I've done like even my dogs are fed up of me right now. But I have two more questions. I'll let Meenakshi address one of them because I saw that in her credentials. The question was how to keep kids stronger. Only reason I would like others to add to it. The reason I brought it to Meenakshi is her credentials said specifically about kids-related research that she had done in the past.
So for the kids to keep them stronger, a routine matters. So 3 sub-pillars of the life, we say that: diet, sleep, and control uses of senses. So when it comes to the diet, natural seasonal diet plays an important role for everybody's immunity. Then the sleep plays an important role. Nowadays, if we see that over binging of or overindulgence in the media or the gadgets, that also we have to control. Control uses of senses keeps the mind calm. And when the mind is calm, that automatically helps with the gut health and automatically helps in building the immunity. Then for the kids, when it comes to the cooking, make the food more attractive so that they can eat. Incorporate Indian gooseberry, which is amla, which is very, very good for, it is rejuvenating. We call it as a rasayana. And it is a fruit. It is, if you see in Ayurveda, we say that is a medicine. But it is a fruit if you consider that when you are cooking your veggies or you're cooking the pasta, it is very easy to hide the amla in that. And amla gives not only the better immune system, it works very well for the eyes, for the hairs, for the skin also. And during this time period, the summer time period, it keeps the body calm also, cool also. So one can incorporate amla. The second thing one can do, less dairy product for the kids who are more prone to the allergies and all. So instead of relying on the dairy product, or if you want to give the dairy product also, then maybe the golden milk, that is the best way. Adding pinch of turmeric, black pepper into the milk, boil the milk and give those to the kids. Then if no dairy product, then the choice, if the kid is allergic to or sensitive to the dairy products, then the choice of milk also, almond milk, rice milk, coconut milk, one can always add those spices into that to give the full benefit of that and to improve the immune system. But definitely sleep and the diet plays an important role when it comes to the kids' health. And refraining from using, nowadays the schools are also like totally e-schools. So a lot of kids are on the gadgets all the time because no other choice. But when the school is over, when the school time is over, it is always best to go outdoors, spend some time outdoor, physical activity, soak in the nature. That is how we can improve our immune system.
Perfect. There is a follow-up on that as to where we get amla. I have seen that in, if I'm not wrong, in Patel Brothers. But would you have any other source that?
It does have a frozen amla if somebody wants to have that. And I think the Gunny might, you guys have the amla?
We don't have we don't sell it individually, amla or trifla, but there's many good sources of it. I mean, I can name my father's company, Ayush Herbs. They sell it individually. To give credit where credit is due, you know, Banyan is also another good one as well. We have in the blend, proprietary blend, in our formulas, in many of our formulas, because as you were mentioned, it's also a really good antioxidant as well. And it is a Rasayana, so it's used many times. But there's a lot of companies, and honestly, even on Amazon, there's some good companies. You know, Organic India is one that also does it. We don't sell individual herbs. We have blends. So, but those are good ones, and I personally know a lot of them, and I trust their quality.
And amla also is available from Himalaya Drug Company, and which is easily available in Sprouts, Whole Food, even Indian stores.
Okay. Yeah, I have seen actually non-frozen amla in Patel Brothers. That was some time back.
Yeah, that they in the salted water. So I never recommend, because we don't know that how long the amla is sitting in that water.
Okay, yeah. Good point there. Now coming back to a follow-up question on Triphala, if anyone wants to take it up. Jigna wants to know how to use Triphala to clean your eyes, and where can we get the ones that are used on your eyes. So, Sapna, do you want to take it up, or
I'll let the Vaidyas handle that.
Okay. Meena?
Triphala, you can get it from the various companies. As we mentioned that Banyan Botanicals, Atre Herbs, there are a lot of companies who sells good quality of Triphala. And how you can do the eye wash with the Triphala? I would prefer that take, first of all, why you want to do that, because that matters. And another thing is, if you don't have any health issue, intake of Triphala is much better as compared to washing your eyes with the Triphala. But if you want to do, then soak the small amount, say 1 teaspoon of Triphala in a water. In the morning, just mash and sieve it, and sieve at least 3 to 4 times, so that there will be no particles of the powder remains in that. And that with that water, you can wash the eyes regularly.
And the reason I let Meenakshi share that is, you know, some of these questions are very specific, and you have to understand that Ayurveda is a very personalized approach to health. So we have to be really cautious, you know, just because we say Triphala eye wash is good or a certain herb is good, it may not be good, you know, for everybody. So what Meenakshi explained it beautifully, the right way to do it. But again, who is doing it and how that person is doing it, you have to ask your question, why do I need it, if I need it, and how, again, there are so many steps to that. So just be aware of that.
And I would like to add, when we were talking about the spices also, if you are incorporating spices as a culinary part of the culinary thing, diet thingy, cooking with the spices, that's okay to use. But if you are using as a supplement, standalone supplements like turmeric or ginger even powder, that can be really not a good idea without consulting the proper physician, because both are blood thinners. And if somebody is taking having the clot issue or on blood thinners, that can be harmful. Instead of giving the benefit, it will give you the harmful effect of that. So make sure that you know why you are taking and who suggests you. Credential matters, quality of herbs matter, and the real knowledge matters. Google doctor won't matter. So we have to, when it comes to the health, we have to go through the good source of who is the good source, Ayurveda practitioner or Ayurveda physician, or we can go towards, when it comes to the herbs, as the Gunny explained, the quality, certification of analysis, all these matters to create a better health.
Thank you so much. Sorry.
I want to
I
add.
have two more questions, Gauri.
Okay.
Maybe
Sure.
you may want to take one of those.
Sure.
And we are running out, so let's try to keep the, I want to ensure we answer all the questions.
Sure, sure.
The next question is, how can one use tulsi leaves and how does it improve health?
So if I can just add a very simple way of the tulsi is also known as holy basil. There are various varieties and varieties of basil leaves. All of them have some form of medicinal quality, but tulsi is a revered herb in Indian Vedic tradition. Tulsi or holy basil is excellent for upper respiratory, is what I would focus. And the easiest way of having tulsi is just making a tea out of it. And I want to also just quickly stress on just not only tulsi, brewing spices in hot water is an excellent way because you're exposing the spices and the volatile compounds that are in the spices get released when exposed to heat. So whether it's in oil or if you're not a great cook or are intimidated by cooking, just by brewing them in hot water is an excellent way. And on my YouTube channel, beSPICED, I have different recipes on how to incorporate these spices in tea form or in a simple remedy like a throat coat and things like that. So tulsi would be great for tea. Many times we have a tulsi plant in our backyard. I just tell my kids, just have one leaf and chew on it. If you're able to do that, even that is wonderful. And to chew on tulsi leaf, one a day.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sapna. Gauri, last question, and it goes to you. The question is, do you guys have any remedy for dandruff?
So, when it comes to dandruff and things, few things I definitely want to keep in mind is that, you want to look at the cause for dandruff. Okay. One, is it something related to, again, any food allergies? That is something you always to keep in mind. Do you have any food sensitivities? Because a lot of times we don't take into consideration that food can have an effect. Okay. So you want to make sure that you don't have any food sensitivities, any food allergies. The other thing, simple thing like a head massage, with oil, warm oil. Again, warm oil is very important. So if you're doing a simple head massage, you can use coconut oil, which that's something that's easily available to you. Simple warm head massage, maybe 5 to 10 minutes would actually help. The other thing also that will help is after the head massage is having, if you have like the towel which is soaked in warm water, just and just put it in your head for maybe 5-10 minutes after that. It'll help it to absorb that oil much better. The other thing you want to keep in mind also your digestion, making sure you're eating your food on correct time, you're sleeping on correct time. Okay, you're not over, having those late nights and having a different schedule for eating and things. So again, that also will help with the lowering the dandruff and things as well. Even a wash with amla powder, making an amla powder wash will also help a lot with that as well. Meenakshi, do you have anything else you want to add?
Majority of the time, as Gauri, you suggested that these are the remedies, but sometimes it is related to the fungal infection as well. So keeping that in mind, watch your diet, not high in sugar. That also contribute towards the dandruff sometimes. And then you can wash your head with the buttermilk, which seems to be very simple remedy, but it works. Buttermilk just with the cultured yogurt, add little amount of water, leave it overnight so that it become more citrus, and then wash your head with that. That should be helpful in addressing the dandruff part.
Very good. All right, we are close to the end of the program discussion. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you, Gunny. Thank you, Gauri, Meenakshi, and Sapna. This was very, very informative and helpful for me. I'm hoping the listeners benefited as well. As we get ready to wrap this meet, I just want to remind that nothing discussed in today's program should be taken as medical advice. Just a reminder one more time, nor seen as an endorsement of any of those products. Please talk to your physician and then take the next steps. And you can connect directly with all the panelists if you have more questions. And the Chamber will be sending out the newsletter and also their contact information at later this week. Again, the recording will be posted on the Chamber YouTube channel, and links will also be available in the Chamber newsletters. And finally, we do not want you guys to forget that we have a wonderful program coming up on Tuesday. It's a special program with Parag Khanna. Also, keep an eye out for other interesting webinars that Chambers will be hosting throughout this week and each week. Thank you, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shanti. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Have a great weekend, guys.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you for the chamber. Bye.